that same person would cost you in the same town $100,000. So you're making a decision when you hire an agency to pay 2.5 to 3.5 times as much for a product that you could buy on your own. Well, if we go back to the definition of business which I imposed on you all and said it's about allocating capital for a rate of return the highest possible, this is crazy. I mean, who would want to do that? I know I wouldn't. Like, you can buy this car for $25,000 or $75,000, which do you want? I mean, this is a huge problem. Yet IPG, WPP, Omnicom, Publicis, and others, they have their profit margins. And by the way, they're not doing so well, so there's something broken for them despite the increase here. But there better be a damn good reason to pay 2.5 to 3.5 times for something that you could get cheaper. Procurement sees that and goes, no. And they're doing their job. Despite all the pock shots I took at procurement 10 minutes ago, this is their job, to get that number down. You have a business plan. I want great ideas, and if they work, I make money, and if not, I need more great ideas. So once again, we're back to the rate of capital. What do we do about that? How do we get great ideas? Great ideas in the Twitter application, YouTube, Facebook world. It's hard. So I started saying to myself, well, what do clients really need? Let's get rid of all the cream. Let's get rid of all the frosting. Let's just get to brass tacks. What do clients need? And I asked a lot of clients this question. I told them I was having the privilege to come speak with you this morning, and I said, just tell me the 3 things you need. And they all said the same thing, and my guess is they would have said the same thing in 1919. We need insights. So insights are good. Without insights, we have generic. We need stunning creative. So everybody likes creative. Creative's good. We hire agencies for that. Oh, and now we got to measure the hell out of it to keep the CFO happy. But my comments aside, it's true. We actually want to know where we're spending money and where we're getting a rate of return, so there's nothing wrong with that. So if that's what clients need, we need people who are great at insights, usually called planners. Some of them are called brand planners. Some of them are called experience planners, but they're planners. They have a great skill to understand what consumers or customers want. We have the creative department, and they do, hopefully, stunning work which captures our emotional strings at the same time capturing our wallets. And we've got all those guys, those phenomenally brilliant men and women in the agencies I've had the privilege to work with, most of whom, by the way, don't come from America, where our mathematical scholastic standards are waning, and they know how to measure to a degree that is removing some of the gray. It's still not all science, but it's getting there. That's what clients want. Clients also want to know what to do about this. I don't know how many of you have had the privilege to be at a meeting with Apple and Google in the same week as I was last week. They don't like each other. Oh, it was polite. We had Google in to talk to us. We do a lot of work for Diageo, leader in the beverage alcoholic spirits, and we're talking about Diageo. And every third word out of these Google's guys, and they're smart, by the way. They pay them a lot of money, but they're very smart, is we're better than Apple. We can do this faster than Apple. We can measure it more than Apple. It's going to be bigger than Apple. 2013. 50% of all search traffic will be mobile, according to Google. Probably actually true. Think of the ramifications of that. So, you know, Eric Schmidt was on the board of Apple 4 months ago. He left. That was no longer friendly. This is a very big question clients ask. Should we develop an iPhone app or should we develop an Android app? Our answer, like all good agencies, is do both. And it's probably a good answer right now because they're both going to have a hell of a lot of market share. It gets a little bit more difficult when you go beyond those two. But the point is, these are tough questions. So you want the insights, you want the creativity, you need the measurement, and you also have to figure out what to do about this because these guys are going to own the media. They already do in many ways. So what are we going to do about all this? I've only lived for 2 years in the great state of New Jersey, but this is a tough question. I've told you only about my problems. I've gotten them off my chest. You've been a great kind of therapist so far. But this is a big challenge. I have a couple of thoughts. By the way, there are no easy answers, so if you came for those, you'll have to come next year. But I want to say, and this is my point back to the ostrich with his, or it might have been a her, I couldn't tell, head in the stand, make a choice. Status quo, eh. You really need to figure out whether that 2.5 to 3.5 time thing makes sense, and if it does, what to do about it. And if not, move the other way. But don't go, I can't figure it out, because I actually think that doesn't actually improve the value of your brand or your company. So choice one, fire the agency. I meant it. If you're not going to work in the right way with an agency, if you don't feel that you're structured as an organization or that you're not getting the value you would expect from your supplier, then why keep them along? And it shouldn't be because they do shit that I don't want to do on weekends. I mean, that's probably a lot of the times what happens, but it's not necessarily a very good reason. Of course, I warn you, you fire the agency, you've got some other issues. You got to hire the talent. And hiring talent's fun. They're very mature, professional, even-keeled, extremely respectful individuals. Millennials were a lot of fun. The best thing about the recession was it put the millennials in their place. It's like my son. They've been there 6 months. Why am I not the CEO? Shut up. I mean, they are the huge, it was interesting. I've run these recruitment programs, as I did a few Saturdays ago, for a couple of years. The change in 3 years, 3 years ago was like, yes, I'm interested in Ogilvy, but I have to decide if it meets my goals. Here it's like, yes, MRM, I want to work there 60 hours a day, no problem. So that's been good. But you have to hire the talent, and if the talent is the gatekeeper, if it's the holder of all that brilliance that's going to actually tell you whether you should be on Google or Apple's platform, or both. If it's going to tell you that, yes, YouTube's critical, but you don't have to be on Facebook right this week, or if you are on Facebook, here's really how to get likes. And all these things we need to do to engage with consumers and customers. I mean, I have ExxonMobil, one of our largest and, frankly, more wonderful clients. They hold us quite accountable, but they are very consistent in the way they work with us, and we like consistency. They asked me, should ExxonMobil have a Facebook page? And that's actually a very good question, because I'm not sure if you're selling industrial lubricants, as this client was, if Facebook's critical to your success. But these kind of questions are tough to answer, and you need really smart people to figure it out, and it's always where do you spend your dollar. So talent is everything. But if you're going to hire talent, remember there's a challenge. Poor Patty Boyle sang like hell the first time out, but kind of melted at the end. Reminds me of most of our creative directors. Getting really talented people actually means that you have to be prepared for differences. And in many corporate cultures, that's a big challenge. Of course, you can take the Sizzle approach. God bless Don, he's really gone. Or you can take what we need nowadays, where the people we hire don't come from Barnard and literature classes and design school. A lot of them come out of programs where they've learned a lot about engineering, a great deal about user experience and interaction architecture, and things that none of us knew anything about 20 years ago and which dominate our days now. So when you decide what you want to hire, if you go out and hire the person who came up with the most wonderful 30, or in the case of Jeff's work, 120, maybe 180-second spot, captivating video, which thanks to places like YouTube might actually be seen, because that length is too much for most traditional commercial segments. Those people aren't necessarily very valuable if you look what questions our clients are asking. They're asking us technical questions. They're asking us to build applications. So that's a challenge. You also have that environment thing. When you start hiring that talent, when you fire the agency, as I'm saying, could be a good idea, and it's not meant just to be provocative. It could be the best idea you make today. You need to create an environment where people can sit in beanbags and have lots of light and feel cool, and not every company in the world is Google and gives out sushi and burritos for lunch. This is hard. Most of our clients, whether it be Verizon out in Basking Ridge, New Jersey, or ExxonMobil in Fairfax, Virginia, and these types of companies, their offices don't look like that, and that'll be a surprise to no one. So you have to fix that. And then we get to the culture thing. I loved this slide. The internet is one of the greatest furnishers of slideware at the last minute. SEO design, establishing a corporate culture to improve character and enhance brand perception. Oh my God, look at these people. They could be my company. We don't wear ties anymore. But nevertheless, if you don't have a culture that accepts that difference thing, if you don't have a culture that embraces the somewhat loony opera singers of this world and the information architects, then you may not attract that talent, and then you have to go back and pay 2.5 to 3.5 times as much for it.